Pakistan said its Air Force, equipped with Chinese-made J-10C fighter jets, shot down 6 Indian aircraft, including Rafale fighters, using China's PL-15 precision long-range capability and advanced guidance system. However, India denies this. When asked for evidence on CNN, Pakistan's defense minister said this.
It's all over the social media, on Indian social media, not on our social media. The debris of these jets fell into Indian occupied Kashmir, and it's all over Indian media today. And they have admitted their media has.
The reason to talk to you today, sir, is not to talk about content all over social media. I'm sorry, it's not to talk about content all over social media. I'm asking you very specifically for the evidence, for the detail.
So, Manoj, it is so hard to know which side to believe. Why is it so hard to get objective evidence about this? Delhi also said that it had downed a few Pakistani aircraft, for example.
If I'm sure, recently the ministry has come across saying that they will come out with all the proofs, right? And the satellite images that was shown in the briefings by the Ministry of Defense a couple of days back during this conflict clearly mentions and clearly shows as well the destruction across the military bases. But first, it was the terrorist bases that were targeted. In response, when Pakistan responded by attacking at the air bases, the military bases of India, then only Indian defense forces attacked at those source of conflict, right? So that's there. So that has been given proof, and there are a lot of satellite images that have been coming across around the world.
In terms of the downed aircraft, I'm probably more referring to that.
Downed aircraft, I don't see there has been anything. And again, as Mr. Air Marshal N. Bharti, let me quote him that during combat, you accept that there will be loss, but it's there. It's a part of the game. But at the end of the day, during combat, whether you achieve your objective or not, that's what matters. Yes, there is a cost to it, but it's not been confirmed.
And he also said that all Indian pilots
are safely back home.
Yeah.
Yep. Yes.
I want to play a video to you. A Chinese influencer created this Douyin video on China's TikTok mocking the downing of Indian aircraft, provoking outrage in India. Take a look.
Come to fetch you, come to fetch you, come to fetch you, big data. Come to fetch you, come to fetch you, come to fetch you, big data. Come to fetch you, come to fetch you, come to fetch you, big data. Come to fetch you, come to fetch you, come to fetch you, big data. Come to fetch you, come to fetch you, come to fetch you, big data. 有人拿飞机都被打掉，来家都没回家，就可以全都被花。我飞机还没坐过就散架，雷达都是坏蛋，什么都看不清你。
So this video is obviously offensive. It's also going off unverified accounts, as we said, of what happened.
This is something that we have been seeing from the Chinese side, as in the group that has been performing these condescending, offensive videos. They have done it before as well. I think world saw how racist the video was and what narrative they are trying to portray. But beyond that, I don't think that it had any impact on the world leaders or also on India. And I'm saying it again that I think the mistake is on the side of the Western media, that how they actually published unverified news. And I think this is something that gave impetus to the narrative from China and Pakistan. So I believe that apart from that, and in fact, if you look at the videos, I think what it has done right now is to change the public perception of India, of Indians again against the Chinese. Because earlier, you know, after Galwan clashes last year, with the outreach, the public perception was slightly becoming better towards China. But I think now it really can't go back to what it was before 2020. And I think the idea is that China is the primary threat right now. China is the one that is behind the scenes, and China is the one that is actually motivating, preparing Pakistan against India. And I think if you ask any Indian, that would be the answer that you would get, actually.
When we say perhaps that perception matters more than reality, I agree with Sana. If we look at the Chinese audience and sort of look at that more narrow angle, do you think it serves a purpose there? And obviously I'm talking in terms of nationalism.
Well, these narratives that that's being played around, right? And it's not only catered to the foreign audience, it also caters to the domestic audience, right? Like as Dr. Shana just mentioned, in the past also they have done it. There's a view-to video of 7 sins of India that's being played by the Chinese again. So this sort of videos.
Can you explain what's in that?
The 7 sins of India that was done, it was right after the Doklam clashes in Bhutan, and where they kind of can show that why India is at fault for the Doklam crisis, and that's the narrative there. But again, those narratives you can see is scattered primarily to the Western audience, and like a very great speaking English, and that's the caters to the major audience. And the Chinese articles caters to the people back home, and to a certain extent, unfortunately in Taiwan, to certain experts also quote such articles without verifying from the original sources. So this battle of narrative will be there, and it will only grow with the time forward.
All right. Yeah. And Sana, I just want to keep on this topic in terms of what it means for China, because stocks, interestingly, stocks for those two manufacturers of the J-10 jets and then the PL-15 missiles, initially during the early May 7th to the 10th, they did drop about 8%, but then they surged about 40%. What's your comment on what's happening there?
I think it's just something that, in the narrative, the idea is that Chinese defense system definitely worked. So I think this is one of the reasons, but we have to actually see the real evidence. So I don't think that this is something that we have to take it as an evidence that it actually worked, and this is why the stocks are going up for the Chinese defense companies.
So that's again based on perception.
I do feel that it's more about perception, and it's more about, as Manoj also mentioned, that, what they're portraying to the domestic audience and how the countries that are actually kind of shunned by the Western defense companies that are also looking at China, that perhaps it might work for us. So I think this is more about perception here when we talk about arms export primarily from China.
And in other quarters, Manoj, the performance, especially of that air defense system, of course, has raised international questions about the reliability of Chinese military hardware. So what sort of implications do you think that this would have for China, or is it just so complicated in terms of all of these different narratives? I mean, what do these international buyers do? Do they look at this and say, Chinese weapons did fantastically, we're going to keep buying them?
Well, to my knowledge, I don't know the technical aspect of air defense radars, but to my knowledge, these buyers, they never had, I'm not saying they never had, they don't have enough money to pay for the expensive Western air defense systems, right? So this is where the Chinese fill the gap in. And maybe in future, we'll see the Chinese air defense radars go at a much cheaper rate, but it will keep on going on. It will keep on being made and keep on getting sold. But do the buyers have enough cash in hand to buy expensive ones? That's a question to see in the future.
Another issue, yes.